Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something that brings a completely universal sense of dread to college students everywhere. Yep, you guessed it, the group project. You definitely know the feeling. But listen, today we're diving into a really comprehensive guide to surviving these team assignments in the modern age. We're breaking it all down so you can take these exact strategies straight into your very next group meeting.
We all know the classic, age-old struggles of working with randomly assigned peers, right? But now, we really have to ask, is AI actually ruining your group projects? Because let's be honest here, artificial intelligence has introduced a whole new layer of unfairness and just absolute chaos to team assignments. Nobody really knows the rules anymore, and it's causing some massive headaches.
Okay, let's dive into this. Before we even get to the solutions, we absolutely have to understand the specific problems AI creates when we try to collaborate. There are basically three massive pitfalls here. Number one is voice inconsistency, which leaves you with this glaring, awkward patchwork document. Number two is fairness perception. I mean, when one person just types a quick prompt and someone else spends hours researching, the actual human effort is vastly different, even if the output looks kind of similar. And number three is accountability. When an AI writes a section, literally nobody wants to own up to the errors that inevitably slip in.
So, to get you through the semester totally drama-free, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover setting first meeting rules, using AI for planning, automating the admin work, unifying the voice, conducting a final review, and finally, handling rule breakers.
Starting right off with strategy number one, first meeting rules, setting the AI policy.
So this very first step actually happens before anyone does an ounce of real work. It requires a slightly awkward but absolutely crucial conversation about your ground rules. You can literally just bring this exact prompt to your group. Will we use AI at all? If yes, which uses are we all comfortable with? Most of the time, groups will land on agreements like research only, drafts only, or maybe using it for everything plus a final consistency edit. Getting whatever you decide written down gives everyone a super clear framework, and honestly, it stops fights before they even start.
Moving on to strategy 2, AI for planning and structuring the project.
We really need to shift our mindset here. AI creates the least amount of friction when you use it for the planning phase rather than the actual writing phase. So instead of having it type up paragraphs, run the structural prompt together during that first meeting. Tell the AI to break the project into clear sections, suggest a realistic milestone timeline, and flag any dependencies. Doing this all together, looking at one single screen, means the AI does the heavy lifting, and absolutely nobody can claim ignorance about the timeline later on.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that planning can yield. The AI can instantly generate a super clean, highly organized task tracker just like this. It explicitly lays out the task, who owns it, the exact due date, and the current status. This completely eliminates that classic, deeply frustrating group work problem of just not knowing who is actually supposed to be doing what.
Which brings us to strategy 3, automating admin, or, the tasks nobody wants.
Now, as we move into the execution phase, you want to direct your AI toward those friction-heavy tasks that literally nobody ever volunteers for. Things like meeting minutes, formatting references, and drafting executive summaries. Using AI for these incredibly tedious chores saves your team's mental energy for the actual meaningful creative work. And more importantly, it completely prevents that nasty resentment that builds up when one person always gets stuck doing the admin.
I highly recommend keeping this specific prompt in your back pocket. In fact, you'll probably want to take a screenshot of this exact phrasing right now. Asking the AI to format sources in your specific required citation style and return them in alphabetical order is a total game changer. It takes what is usually 10 minutes of agonizing, detail-oriented citation formatting and turns it into about 30 seconds of effortless work.
All right, strategy 4, unifying voice and fixing the patchwork. Listen, if you want to secure a high grade, this is probably the most technically important strategy you can implement. Before anyone even starts writing, generate a shared style guide using this prompt. Create a brief style guide for our group that covers the appropriate level of formality, whether to use first person or third person. Getting this shared up front ensures that all your sections will naturally sound like they came from a single author.
Because let's be real, if you don't use a style guide, you get that classic mess on the left. You've got an incredibly formal, obvious AI-generated paragraph sitting right next to super casual conversational human text. Professors spot this disjointed patchwork immediately. But on the right, after an AI consistency check, you have a unified, cohesive document. One voice, one document, one solid grade.
Strategy 5, the final review, using a two-pass system.
Let's move on and see how this builds, especially because right now, we're in the final hours before the deadline. Your group members are completely exhausted, and this is exactly when you're most likely to miss grade-killing mistakes. To create an incredible failsafe, use this highly efficient 20-minute two-step procedure. You execute Step 1, the content and argument pass, directly followed by Step 2, the presentation and formatting pass.
So for Step 1, you construct the AI to review it for content quality. Does the argument flow logically? Are there any contradictions between sections? When different people are writing different parts, logical contradictions happen all the time. This prompt acts as your ultimate safety net, catching those structural flaws and weak points that totally slipped through before you hit submit.
Finally, we reach Strategy 6, handling rule breakers and resolving tension.
Okay, let's just acknowledge the messy interpersonal reality of student groups. What do you actually do when you suspect someone broke those AI ground rules you all agreed upon? Well, you address it directly. A question, not an accusation. Silent resentment is incredibly toxic. It will completely kill your group project. So it's always better to address your suspicions directly with the person, but you have to do it really delicately to avoid a massive blowout.
The real trick here is navigating that tension perfectly. Now, what's really interesting about this approach is how non-confrontational it is. Try this specific phrasing. I noticed your section sounds quite different in style from what you normally write. Did you use AI for it? Using this exact script opens up a necessary, honest conversation without throwing out an aggressive accusation. It lets you get right to the truth and figure out how to fix the document together as a team.
It really all boils down to this core takeaway summarizing our explainer today. It's the 5-minute conversation that saves 3 weeks of tension. Establishing a structured system up front, agreeing on the rules, and utilizing AI for the planning and admin phases rather than just blind writing, that is the absolute ultimate survival tactic for modern group work.
I want to leave you with a somewhat provocative thought today. Think about it. If AI writes the plan, edits the drafts, and checks the formats, what is the most vital skill left for the human team? As AI handles all the execution, the true value of human collaboration shifts entirely. It becomes all about managing strategy, resolving those interpersonal tensions, and making the big picture decisions. Keep that in mind the next time you sit down with a brand new group. Thank you so much for diving into this with me on The Explainer. Take these prompts, use them well, and good luck with your next project.